7:03. Just starting our route.
On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton. We rode into the woodlands. We had to kind of give it a stick. We were running behind. We picked up the group, went out on Fishcreek. I mean, all hell broke loose. We merged with some other groups on the road, and all the way into Honey, it was just fast. Moore, of course, took the camera, did some nice commentary I think you would love, until we got into Montgomery. After that, off camera, we went through Mount Pleasant into the forest on 149. We took Bethel down to Johnson Road. By Dacres there, we rode to Mount Moriah Road. We stopped in Dobbins at the store. Then we continued 1486 to Jackson, back past Cairn, into Magnolia, down 1488. The group kind of broke up all the way on the way back in because it was just hard the whole ride. But I think you would love the clips that we put together for you, and we need more of this to get the group going faster.
The group is.
I looked up your name, man.
Yeah?
Tommaso. Yeah, I love the sound of that, man. It has a powerful ring to it.
That's Thomas. In Italian, it's called Tommaso. And I learned that from Maurizio that Tomasini means Little Thomas. So those of you who are familiar with those bikes, we used to ride Tomasini, Gios, Mercier, Colnago. So I mentioned it to Moore on Sunday. I rode with Moore and them as well, and we were talking about it, and that's when he told me that Tomasini means Little Thomas, and Tommaso means Thomas. But I love the sound of it.
I'm definitely gonna have to talk to Mo about that.
So, yeah, I was telling Thomas that some of the people Moore has ridden with.
It's such a pleasure to get to.
There's a car on the left.
Ride with people like Mo.
So we're going to see Mo in a few kilometers, probably about 5 kilometers, about 3 miles. He's out spinning around. He's coming back towards us, and we're going to come across him in the neighborhood. The group has gotten faster over time, and we need more of this to kind of.
I'm surprised we made it on time, my brother.
Yeah, man.
we're running late.
We're still at the golf course.
Yeah.
We usually take about, it takes about 35 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes. But we left like late, so we left at 6:30, and we really just put our heads down. We got there right on time, like 6:58.
Did Laura make the July 4th ride?
Yeah, she did.
Okay.
They had a ride on Tuesday, July 4th, and that's what Paul was telling me about. He's talking about Laura. He said Laura was putting it down.
Oh, it's just they're racing in me. She wasn't there more. She took some long pulls.
So he said Laura took some strong pulls, and you guys will see her working here. I ended up telling her on Fishcreek, and I pointed out, you don't hear it, but I told her, I said, yeah, you're riding strong.
This guy right there.
That's English Mike on the right there. He's retired also. So he's one of the people that forced the pace out here. So we were going at it last week off camera.
Yeah.
So I've modified my training to where I'm doing more intensity than I used to. But, you gotta ease into it. You don't want to damage your form.
And the rest of the group, and we were in the other group.
So he's telling me about what happened on the July 4th ride. It was Tuesday. I did not attend. And I think they had like 50 plus riders show up. They did a course that we've done before called the Burn Your Buns Ride in Northeast Harris County.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing my Souke 100-kilometer jersey because this week Souke is having a sale. I think it's most of July. It's like up to 20% off. Use the Veloharmony code and get yourself some pieces of kit. I love the way that stuff fits. So on this part of the film, we're in the neighborhood. We've crossed 1488. We're going towards a road called Mahogany Road. And this is in this area where we're going to come across Mo. Mo is going to be coming back, and then he's going to do a U-turn. He knows the route we're going to be on. And he told me later that he was out riding. He leaves early.
What's going on? Good, man.
So we've merged here with the Zantes group. Some of the guys used to ride with Team Mahar. That's what Paul is greeting Dan. Dan Conway. I will greet him later.
Where are you?
I think I'm sitting at the back. I'm not sure where I am in this clip. We haven't seen Dan in a while, so it was good to see him out here. This is where we're going to come across Mo. He's coming from the left.
Car up.
People call car up.
Car up.
There's Mo on the left.
Topini.
I always like to call it Maurizio. I love the sound of that.
Oh my goodness.
So he's turning around. He's going to come ride with us. And so it turns out that he had been riding with Sana, who's another strong rider in the area. And she's going to ride with another group called Friends of Friends from Whole Foods.
How about you?
And Mo wanted to make sure that they did not catch us. So that's what, you know.
I said this girl is strong. Yeah, the fourth. I'm still dreaming about that. I have flashback. It was a heck of a ride.
You lined up that day, man. I felt good.
Yeah.
Which day was that?
The 4th of July ride that R3 put on. That thing, it started off civil and then it got spicy.
Yeah.
It never quit after that. Woo-wee.
I went and rode through town that day.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Started spicy and tasted like
Yeah.
everyone on the board is good. That was my backup ride, because that one started a little later than
We're on the open road. The FM 2978 Fishcreek Thoroughfare.
I didn't want to happen to me what happened to Big Man last time.
What Mike Baradas is talking about. He didn't want to lead, not being sure whether we're going straight or turning left on Honia Egypt Community Road. But we're on the Fishcreek Thoroughfare, and the ride calls for us to continue on this all the way to Capitol Hill Road. We've caught up to a group. There's a group right up ahead here. I think they leave from Zantes. Some of the guys used to ride with the Team our group. And I'm going to greet Dan the Man, Dan Conway, one of the Iron Men in the area. I haven't seen him in at least 6 months. It's good to see him, so we're rolling. I said my good mornings.
That's the man.
And I'm going to pick it up a little bit. So I ended up starting something, and it never slowed down after that. Not knowing that Mo did not want us to be caught by the Friends of Friends group. So I'm currently 185 pounds. I'm about 10 pounds, consistently 10 pounds lighter than I used to be. I mean, I used to be 195, approaching 198, you know, depending on, you know, how it is. But I'm consistently 185 or less now. It's settled around 185, which feels really good. My kit, everything fits really well. So I haven't lost anything. I don't feel a lack of energy or anything. I wasn't really trying. It's just that's where my body has settled. So I just kind of lift the pace a bit because they're slowing down.
Here's our train.
And so Paul's letting Laura know. Here's the train. There's Bob at the front here. I'm not familiar with this guy. He was having trouble breathing during the ride. He was wheezing. There was something going on with him. But I guess he got it sorted. Pick it up about 25 miles an hour, just kind of lower myself. I wasn't doing it for the pace as opposed to the effort, not so much the speed. So I'm right at sweet spot. I figure I'll hold it there for a while. As the road levels off, I go through the gears. Reasonable wattage, 250 thereabouts. The wind's buffeting me a little bit, so I lower my torso just a tad. I think I'll stay here for about, 2.5, 3 minutes, something like that. Everybody's settling in. That's Loretta. That's Alejandro in the blue jersey back there. My brother Paul Ilonga. The Californian, now Texan. And Mike Barreras. You guys will see him when we get to 2854, when Mo starts the commentary. So we're making the most of this downhill. Figure let's go ahead and go through. I'm probably sitting in a 53.15 or something like that. Keep the cadence mid to upper 90s. So yeah, I'm riding here. It's not an easy speed. I'm actually putting the effort through the gears. After this ride, when I got home, I checked my rear tire. It was a little low on the way home, close to home. So I just kind of put a little bit of air to get me home. I didn't want to stop to mess with it. It was kind of hot. But I had a bit of a flint in the tire. So it's one of those flats where it takes like a whole day before you notice it. And I kind of knew something was in there. And I found it, used a tweezer and took it out because the tire is still new. But those are the kind of things you got to keep up with. You have a problem on a ride, deal with it before you use that wheel again, so you don't create problems far away from home that you knew about. So I flick my elbow so Paul can come by. When he comes by, he ends up giving me the camera, but I wasn't expecting it. So he asked me if I wanted it, and then I rode up, grabbed it, and then Mo goes on the left there. Look to your left. Mauricio takes off on an attack. Mauricio! He's on the left, man. Yeah, there he is. He's gone. You know how that is. So we got a bit between the teeth. Most up the road. So we go ahead and just continue riding. I slip in front of Alejandro. He lets me in. I'm behind Tommaso Anselmi, the Italiano. I love the sound of that. He said he named one of his sons Leonardo. It's a good ring. So Mo's up the road. He's backed off a little bit. he wants us to chase. And what's his name? Doug Shot told me, he said, when you're riding with Mo, if you're not feeling good, don't chase. Then he'll slow down. If you keep chasing, he keeps riding because he thinks, you know, you're good. So he's back there, he's going to ask me if we got it.
I got you.
Yeah, you got it. I
got it. But this was not all Mo's doing. Mo pulled maybe half the time. We did it to ourselves. I mean, you know, the riders here. You got Mike Paredes, Laura, Paulie Longa. Who else? You got English Mike Bradbury. So everybody was contributing to the pace. Because this is a slight grade, Fishcreek, this section, this says 1%, but it's a grade and then you got the wind. So the whole time you're headed this way is going north. And I've said it before, that's why I love coming this way. So we're working here. I already unzipped my jersey. I love that jersey I'm wearing. I wish it were just a tad cooler, but maybe it's just me. I mean, I run hot and I've been having challenges dealing with the summer this year. Everything has been very different for me this year. I can't even wear my arm screens. I'm running so hot. So I don't think it's a jersey's fault. You know, it's just I'm having challenges with this summer. So the planet is definitely warmer. It's just different. I'm just, you know. So I've been going out very early. I get up at 5. I try to hit the road early. So Paul pulls off. I'm going to give him the camera when he comes by. Paul is riding stronger and stronger every week.
There you go, my brother. Stay close.
Yes, sir.
It's Mike Paredes. San Diego, Texas Mike. Squared away, as usual. He's got those white socks matching the white shoes that look like cycling boots. Mike kicked us to the curb when we got to Taco Corner. He's like, I got other things to do. I don't want to be a zombie later today. We just flew into Taco Corner. The pace here is picking up again. You can see they picked up the pace so dramatically. Paul got a little gap at the light. He's going to have to ride back to get on that wheel. This is what usually breaks the elastic. You know, that's the thing with the group dynamics. All those surges, you got to be able to tolerate that. You got to be able to do it and recover. And you will see when we hit Hornier and we go up those climbs, it's like as if they were flat. I looked down several times and I saw 7-point-something watts per kilo. I'm like, this is just, we're going so hard. I ended up pulling out of the line before Southpine Boulevard just to get a little bit extra recovery, and I just sat in the back. I sat behind bigger riders. Because Mike Paredes had it figured out. Well, going down the hill, you'll see he pulls out of the line because he doesn't want to get on Mo's wheel or Laura because they get so low. I ended up getting on their wheel. I mean, you work a little harder. I just go lower, but yeah. But it helps who you're following. It makes a big difference, you know. I like to follow Mo actually because he's so smooth that I can get really close and I can relax. I'd much rather do the little extra work and be relaxed than to be following another rider that I've got to react to. You know what I mean. This is Mike Bradbury, and he's been lifting the pace consistently lately. So we've got a good injection of pace into this group. Much appreciated. You see my watch, 500 or something. I mean, we're working here. This is just a slight grade. So we're riding, these are like what Mike Paredes calls big gear intervals. So all I do when I'm riding in this kind of company, I don't worry about my heart rate. I focus on how my legs feel. and I make sure I'm selecting the proper gearing for the situation so that you stay on top of it. And then sometimes you do need to shift up to feel right. You know how it is, you're riding. I got the phrase I'm going to use I got from Jerry on Sunday. Jerry said he was riding and he was feeling good until he didn't feel good anymore. And I thought about it, I said, hey, I'm going to use that. I like that. You know how it is, you get in a group and the pace is hot and you're going and you're feeling good and you're trading the pace. And then all of a sudden, brrr, everything, you're like, what happened? We had a nice conversational ride on Sunday for most of it. So we're talking about stuff like that. It was kind of funny to hear. He said, I was going really well until I didn't feel good again. I was feeling good until I didn't feel good. That's how it is in cycling. You got to save a little something because you never know how your body's going to react. So all through here, it felt hard. I mean, I'm sitting at sweet spot, which usually feels comfortable, but it felt hard. And I don't know, it probably had to do with the kind of week I had, I did a lot more indoor stuff the week before this ride, but still, it was like, my legs felt like, bad idea. But this is Saturday. I like to do at least 4 hours. So I wasn't gonna turn around. So Laura pulls off. In a little bit, I'm going to drift to the back because I had just taken a long pull. I definitely did not want to pull again.
All right.
So Laura's going to get in. Paul lets her in. I'm going to go on the right shoulder and drift back in a little bit. There's John Clement Chapoussin from the AccessoriesOutdoors team. Clement Chapoussin has switched teams. John Mulbrick. John told me later in the ride, well, he stated, he didn't tell me while I was within earshot. He said, man, we're just hanging on today. That's what you got to do on some rides. You got to hang in. So, I drifted out of second position, and I'm drifting to the back. I think I'm going to get in front of Paul here. I'm looking at the gaps. I look down to see the wheel. So just looking straight down, you can see the wheel on your periphery.
Yeah.
And you don't have to turn your head necessarily. I'm telling Paul that the guy in the front right now is wheezing, and it was unnerving to listen to. I mean, he sounded like he was having trouble breathing. He probably should back off. I don't know. You know how guys are, though. The ego gets in the way. He's almost like his breathing passages were clogged or compromised. Like he was hacking. He wasn't really coughing, This is the grade before the overpass. This is where I tell Laura, you're riding strong. That's what we're talking about there. And then somebody lifted the pace. So.
More abuse.
I told her, I said more abuse. We call it more abuse. Except Mo was pulling really hard. She was just hanging in. Right? She's riding well. So when you're riding with a group that's tough, you hang in and try to hang in longer and longer each time you hook up with them. Don't give up. It's okay. If your form starts to deteriorate, you let them go because there may be something going on with you that day or whatever. But your goal should be every time you hook up with them, stay a little longer than before. Do it by time. That way you can tell yourself hang in for another minute or, you know, so forth and so on. That's the way you got to do it. Don't worry about it, the rest of the people. Listen to yourself. Because you want to ride yourself into form, not destroy yourself. They're going very hard on this climb. It felt hard for me anyway. I'm sitting, it'll be like almost 700 watts seated. I don't know what gear I'm in, but it's a large gear, and I'm just doing what I got to do to stay in the pace. Somebody turned the screw up there. I mean, this is where it lessened that we were like 4 something. Now it's leveling off, but we did almost 600 watts coming over that. So those of you who have power meters, that's another thing you can use it for. You ride with a group that's fast, monitor what ranges of power zones that are giving you trouble, and then try to get to those zones no matter how short the period when you're doing your hard workouts by yourself. That's the only way to acclimate, because if you're going to have the power meter, you might as well, because that's a definite barometer to train with. It's a good metric. It's consistent. You know, 600 watts is 600 watts, however you get there. I like to use moderate climbs, so I don't have to push too much on the flat to get there. But on the flat, you can stand and sprint. That's kind of what these guys are doing. I hooked up with them on Tuesday morning today. I'm doing a commentary later in the morning, but I lasted maybe 20-25 minutes, and my legs were like, enough. And so I just let them go and settle at my own pace. But I will definitely be back for more. It's like seasoning, just a dash. All through here is hard. We're going to turn, and there's a car that's going to disrupt the group, meaning half of us will turn successfully, but there's a car coming south from that direction in our face, and he basically splits the group because the rest of the group have to wait. And it's a nice reprieve. I didn't hear anybody complaining and say, we gotta wait. You know, because this is fast. I mean, we've, let's see here, 31 minutes we're out here. There's the car. So Paul makes it, and I don't know who's behind him, but at this point, there's a split. And there's a car up right away. We let people know.
Wait a little bit.
I tell them, wait a little bit. There's a split. We're not together.
Wait a little bit.
So Darren said good timing because he needed that break too, just like we all did. We needed to catch our breath. And so the wizard Mike Barreras is going to make sure that he's following somebody of similar stature. You will see that in a little bit, how he navigates and sets that up. That's Dan the Man. Dan Conway. Rolling through. I don't know if the camera will pick up Mike Barreras' move, but there he is up there in front of John in the red, white, and blue squared away outfit. And he's going to drift. He's going to go to the left. I'm going to end up on Laura's wheel. He does not want to be on Laura's wheel. See Laura right there? To my left. She's in front of me now. Right there, he's going to drift to the left. There. He does not want to be on Laura's. You see him on the left? He's an old crook. He wants to get behind somebody taller. We laughed about it later, but I think he actually said that when he was doing it. He said he didn't want to be on Mo's wheel because Mo really folds himself over the bike. He gets really low. So when I'm following Laura, I get in the drops or I get very low. I keep my arms horizontal when I'm on the hoods. This is Doug Shot behind me here, and Mo is pulling. Laura is in second position. I'm third wheel, and Doug Shot, and then Paul Ilonga. So Mike Barreras is probably behind Paul Ilonga or Tommaso Anselmi. Thomas has gotten stronger. He's riding better. He's riding smarter. He's saving his energy for the climbs. And and so he works when necessary. And then when he decides to let the group go, he continues and he finishes the route. He doesn't take shortcuts. That's what it takes. So everybody's working here. This is Raven Chapel Road in Hornier, Texas. It's clear on the left. We turn. It's a slight grade, about 2%. You have to be ready to accelerate. I'm in the proper gear, so I don't need to get up. But you got to accelerate. Look at my cadence. Almost 100 RPM. That's what it takes. You spin that up and then shift up, because these boards are not going to back off. And this is where you take some deep breaths, get some oxygen in your system to get ready for the next time you got to work. You've got to be thinking about stuff like that. Besides reading the road, paying attention to other wheels, that's what's going on. These are some great shots that Paulie Longa captured. This is a lot faster than we planned to ride today, because we're doing about 75 miles, I think. At least that. It's 130 kilometers, something like that. So we've done quite a few big intervals. For example, the overpass, then this stretch when we turn, and now you're going to see how much harder we go on the Raven Chapel Hill coming up. You see how tight the line is? There is no room for messing around. We're working here. 22, 23 miles an hour. This is about 1.5%, 2%, something like that. It says 1% on the display. I think it felt harder. Right here it's leveling off. And we're almost 24 miles an hour. There's an intersection coming, so we slow down a little bit. We're gonna check, because the dead end's on the left. So we just look to the right, not heavily traveled. We get the green light, we go through. I downshift and I spin up. See my cadence? So either you do that, or you stay in the same gear and stand, or shift up and stand, whatever you feel like doing. You got to be able to do both of them, because sometimes that's what you feel like doing. The road level's always going to be slightly downhill before we begin the climb, but you still have to go through the gears. You got to keep your rhythm the same. I did not believe how fast we went up this climb. I think I saw 7.5 watts per kilo, and it wasn't for a second. It was at least 10 seconds or so. I mean, we were going. It's going to start about here. We're doing 23 miles an hour. It gets to about 3.5%. So psychologically, you have to tell yourself, time to work. I stay in the same gear and I go ahead. Look at the watts. We're above 600 watts already. And I just, whatever gear I'm in, I'm just trying to spin that bad boy. And then to finish the climb, I shift up to a harder gear. But by the time we descend here, I'm trying to get my legs to like feel good again. I was like, they're not feeling so great. So I decide I'm going to drift out of where I am to get a better draft behind somebody bigger, because I've been sitting on Laura's wheel. That's what I'm doing here. So I drift to the side and then Doug will fill the gap. Paulie Longa will go through. I'm gonna get behind. I believe Mike Barreras comes through. I think I'm gonna get behind Paulie Longa or John. I think one of them. So I just changed my position because I was feeling so much wind up there. I ended up paying the price for that position because all the wind I was fighting. This is Southpine Lake Road. This will take us to Millrock Road. So what Paul is doing here is staying within himself. He's going to ride back to the wheel instead of going with every jump per se. They've backed off a little bit so it closes up. I'm 2 riders behind him at this point. We're doing about 27 miles an hour, 27, almost 28. This is a good chance. I think I took a drink. You see, I'm not pedaling. We're rolling down this hill here. Take a drink quickly and get ready because we're going to start rolling again. And usually we're looking up ahead to see if there's any cars coming. Because when the road's clear, you can use whatever line you choose. So we're letting everybody know as a car. See, everybody goes to the right. It's cleaner on the right, meaning there are fewer cracks on the edge in that curve. So either you go wide or you come inside like we just did because the car was coming. The middle is all chopped up. It's kind of bumpy. We're going to be turning left onto Millrock Road in about 200 meters. I was a bit concerned about the gap right here. I'm behind John. John's behind Paul. So we catch back up, but the pace is not going to let up. I think Mo's getting something to eat or something. He was sitting up, like hands-free riding. Usually when he reaches in his pocket, he'll do that, but I think he's resumed. There's going to be a split soon because the pace got lifted right there. Right there. I could feel it, and I was not feeling like coming around Paul. I was 2 riders behind him. I just stayed there. So he rides back up here. I think at this point we have a split because Paul is on the back of the group here by himself. We have like maybe a car length away from them, because we're just holding our pace. John is pulling up behind John. These guys are a little off the front here. You can see my watts, 450. So I'm doing 450 watts and we're getting dropped. You know, so at that point you just kind of hold your effort because they can only maintain this so much. I mean, you just got to keep going. You don't want to blow your engine. So we're holding it steady back there. In a little bit, Paul will let them go, and then he's going to be kind of in between until we come around. I think somewhere around here they start to pull away from him. But he's trying to stay on Doug's wheel. This is when you need a deep breathe and just pay attention to your form. So right here, he just stays within himself, which is what you need to do. But he's by himself here in what we call no man's land, because he's not on that group and he's not with us. And so we're coming up to him. We're pretty close. Because this area here is curvy and it kicks up, so we're trying to keep the effort consistent. You can see my watts are pretty low. I'm sitting on John's wheel, and he's riding like he's trying to get up to Paul. And now we're really riding. You see my watts going up, so we're coming up to Paul. Because once that gap opened, I was like, I'm not putting my nose in the wind right now, because I was like, we got 28.54 to deal with. And we've been flying through here. I mean, this 45 minutes, we're almost at Taco. This is fast. Mo said he averaged 21 point something, and I think he did like almost 100 miles or something like that. Some ridiculous amount of miles. So this is where we come around, and Paul's gonna slip on the back. Because I'm actually sitting in. I'm not riding in the wind. I'm just sitting in. I'm like, I got a long day. I'm gonna conserve. That's Dan, the other Dan, Jaworski. It was good to see Dan Jaworski here. He hadn't been here in a while. He's riding well still. We're all gonna get back together. They came around him. Paul's staying within himself. We're gonna come around. We're all gonna merge. We're all pretty much here. We can see those guys in the distance. They're going to back off before they turn because they got to catch their breath too. This is where we come around, and we come around Dan, I think. I'm still sitting on John's wheel. So we got a few riders that we see in the distance. There are a few the riders in front of them. We're riding up to them. By the time we turn, we'll all be pretty much almost back together. So you gotta be under control and not get too excited and blow yourself for the whole ride. If you're not feeling it, sit in. So we're pretty much almost back together. You see the turn already. In a little bit, we're going to come on the right. And John's going to tell Paul that he's coming on the right. So Paul just held his effort. Even though they pulled away, he continued to ride. That's what you have to do. Because if you go too far into the red for too long, then you have to slow way down. But if you stay under control, you can maintain your pace. This is where John tells him on the right, and John tells him, grab a wheel, Paul. So Paul's going to ride up to Dan's wheel. This is another grade. This road has a grade and it curves to the right. So we're doing about 25 miles an hour, which is fast for these conditions and on this road. So basically we'll ride up. That's Mo. Mo came back. We're gonna ride up to that group that had turned on the corner. They're right there. I think Mo came back and pulled our group. Then he's gonna take the camera and I will let you guys enjoy the commentary. Because he does the commentary in Italian. And Mike Beretta said that when Mo started speaking Italian, his watch went up from 375 to 4 something. He was pumped. It took him back in time, so to speak. So we're gonna ask Paul, if it's on.
I'll give you a break.
Then so he said, let me give you a break. Paul rides and sits on the wheel. So the way Paul held his effort when the group pulled away is what you want to do. You don't need to kill yourself to stay there if it doesn't feel right. It's better to let them have their gap and you keep riding at the highest pace you can maintain so you're not in the red. That way you'll be able to do what he just did. Now he's back in the group. I just sat on John's wheel while all of that was developing. I was like, I'm not going in the wind. I did not feel it. Because if I had felt it, I'd be up there. That's mine.
Slow things down.
Mike wants to slow things down, I guess.
E vedete in questo momento Mike Barreras a fare l'andatura su un gruppo ancora compatto, forte di circa 15 unità. Si stanno avvicinando al traguardo intermedio di Taco Corner. Y'all understood Taco Corner, right? Laura, la prima delle donne, vediamo l'unica che ha sopravvissuto agli attacchi sferrati dall'italiano cretino.
Maurizio.
Dan Conway. Dan Conway is sitting in the back waiting for the sprint. We can see him, he's very fresh. He's got his lead out in front of him. Phew.
Maurizio Topotopini.
E ci sono anch'io. Forza Italia.
I think this is the fastest we've ever gotten into Taco. Like 51 minutes and 41 seconds so far. I mean, so then at the light you hear him say, "Oh, they didn't catch us." I asked him who was chasing us. And then he tells me he didn't want friends of friends to catch us. We were flying, man. But it wasn't all Mo's doing. It was we participated too. It was like everybody got pumped because Mo was there. You know how it is. Rode a bit over our heads. I'm just kind of rolling the gear. We're going downhill. I'm in a big gear, just rolling.
This might be close to the end of the segment, and as Eldred says, get your doctors fired!
There you go. I don't need to say anything else. We'll let you guys watch the epilogue here. Woo. This is where he would tell us that, oh, they didn't catch us. So that was cool.
You know, I'm sure everybody's tired, but you know what? They didn't catch us this time. Usually the other. Usually
So I'm
the
gonna
whole
ask
group
him.
catches them.
That was a good.
Yeah, it's good. Huh?
Good little stretch there.
Who was chasing? Said they didn't catch us.
No, I figured they Whole Foods. They're probably out there chasing.
Yeah. So after we go through the light, I decide I'm gonna spin to Taco Corner. It's about maybe a mile and a half up the road.
I was riding with Sanna earlier this morning, and that's then she split up. She said, I'm gonna go with Whole Foods. I said, hey, I'm gonna go with the other guys that tried to catch us.
So that's what it was. Okay.
Who's that? I don't know, man. I don't know what they did today. Yeah, sometimes he does. He's like me. We're cycling whores. We go with anybody.
You're asking for Abby. Was Abby with them? Yeah, Abby rides.
Ease it down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm easing down
to
here.
Taco? Yeah.
So we're gonna stop at Taco Corner, and so Mo's gonna ride up to the back of the group here, I'm gonna spin down. So the stats you're gonna see will be me cooling down before we get to taco, because we got a long day. I mean, this is 8 o'clock and we got like 3.5, 4 hours left. I mean, this was a crazy pace. So he rides up to these guys and I just spin up the climb there. And you're gonna see, this is Matt White. Matt hadn't been with us in a while, but he's back. It's good to see him. That's Darren. Matt rides up to his wheel. I believe that English Mike is at the front, pulling up this climb. So we get up early because it's hot down here. Otherwise, your body just spends time trying to stay cool. So there's a gap here, so Mo fills the gap. Paul's spinning down. Mo's gonna ride up, I believe, past Mike Barrera's wheel here. This is Mike Barrera. FRS, Mike Barrera's squared away. Laura and English Mike there. So Mo opens the gap here. He's got the camera turned behind. Yeah, that's a bit close. That guy, he should have moved, waited and moved over. He squeezed in the lane to go to the stop sign 100 yards down the road. That's the stupid decisions they make. Ain't that much of a hurry. There's nothing going on out here. There's the stop sign right there.
Taco corner. Turn into taco corner. Left there.
Yeah, he says left, but I think he corrects it. He says right.
Turn, I'm sorry,
right turn. Yeah.
Right turn.
This is taco corner. We're gonna stop there, and then right here he's gonna instigate a sprint. He's gonna say,
and they're preparing for the sprint. There is a moment of starting right now. The tactics are beginning to play out. Who's gonna lead it out? Who's going to lead it out?
If I knew they had this much fun, I would have been up here. I felt like backing off. I needed it.
There's a sprint.
We had gone so hard.
Oh, we're too far back. It's Mike versus Mike.
It's my English Mike and Mike Barreras are going at it. I'm not sure who else is participating, but they open a little bit of a gap. Taco corner is right down the hill on the right. But I hope you got a chance to get out over the weekend. If you didn't, get on the trainer, walk outside, do something, get your body moving. As Mo said, keep all the doctors fired. This was one heck of a ride. I had no trouble sleeping Saturday night.
I don't know how to turn it off, Eldred, so I'm just gonna keep it rolling for another couple minutes.
Well, it's got the camera going. This is cool. This is Taco Corner. It's a shell station to make tacos here.
We need the interview. And this is Taco Corner. That's where we replenish our fluids. There you go. I don't know how to turn it off. So. All right.